All right, welcome. Today, we're heading down to the Southern California coast to explore a city known for its, well, perfect weather and 70 miles of beaches. But is there more to San Diego than just sun and surf? Let's find out. It holds a pretty confident title, America's finest city. And honestly, when you look at its stunning skyline, that iconic Coronado Bridge, and historic Balboa Park, you can kind of see where that confidence comes from. But yeah, beyond that picture-perfect postcard, there's a much deeper story here, one of empires, borders, and some really dramatic transformation. So let's peel back the layers and uncover the history of the place that calls itself the birthplace of California. To really get the San Diego of today, we have to go way back to the very beginning. Its history is incredibly layered, and it starts long, long before any Europeans ever arrived on the scene. See, long before any ships appeared on the horizon, this land was home to the Kumeyaay people. They've inhabited this region for thousands of years, and their history is the true original foundation of this place. What followed was just a period of incredibly rapid and turbulent change. I mean, think about this. In less than 80 years, San Diego was claimed by 4 different nations. It went from the Spanish Empire to a newly independent Mexico, then it had this brief moment as part of the California Republic, and finally it became part of the United States. That's a staggering amount of upheaval in just a few decades. So where did the name San Diego even come from? Well, for that, we have to go back to 1602. A Spanish explorer, Sebastian Vizcaíno, sailed into the bay, and he named it after the Catholic saint Didacus of Alcala, or, San Diego in Spanish. And that's the name that stuck. And right here, this is the crucial point, the one that gives San Diego its famous nickname. In 1769, the Spanish established a fort, the Presidio, and the very first of the California missions. This settlement marks the beginning of European colonization in what would eventually become the state of California. But the story of San Diego isn't just about who claimed the land. It's also about the land itself. You simply can't understand this city without taking a look at its really unique and defining geography. So unlike a lot of cities that are built on these flat plains, San Diego is spread across a series of mesas, which are basically flat-topped hills, and they're sliced apart by about 200 deep canyons. This geography creates all these distinct neighborhoods, separated by natural green spaces, and it's a huge reason why the city feels so spread out and, frankly, car-dependent. This varied landscape also creates something called microclimates, and the differences can be pretty dramatic. So on a typical August day, it might be a perfect 78 degrees right by the coast. But if you drive just 10 miles inland, the temperature can easily jump 10 degrees to 88. That's the powerful cooling effect of the Pacific Ocean at work right there. And of course, that climate, it's legendary. It's consistently ranked as one of the best in the world. And this amazing weather isn't just a nice little perk. It's a fundamental driver of the city's culture, its economy, its entire identity, really. But if there's one force that shaped modern San Diego more than pretty much any other, it's the United States military. I mean, its presence is woven into the very fabric of the city. The impact was just staggering. During the World War II era, the city's population absolutely exploded. We're talking by over 126%. Its natural deep-water harbor was the perfect hub for the Navy, and that booming defense industry drew in hundreds of thousands of people, completely reshaping the city forever. And here's a really startling piece of history that just underscores its strategic importance. In the final months of the war, Japan had a secret plan to launch a biological attack on San Diego, hoping to spread the plague. The operation was only called off because Japan surrendered just 5 weeks before it was scheduled. It's a chilling reminder of how central the city was to the war effort. So how has all that deep history and that powerful military legacy shaped the San Diego of today? Let's take a look at the modern city, its economy, its people, and the future it's facing. While the military is still a huge economic driver, modern San Diego has really diversified. Tourism is massive, of course, but its border location also makes it a key hub for international trade. And maybe most importantly, it has become a global leader in biotech and life sciences, thanks in large part to the world-class research coming out of places like UC San Diego. And all of that growth has created the dynamic, modern skyline we see today, a city that's literally built on all these different layers of history. As a major border city, San Diego is incredibly diverse. In fact, if you look at the 2010 data, it's what you'd call a plurality city, with no single majority ethnic group. This has created a true melting pot, with a massive Hispanic influence from neighboring Mexico and vibrant Asian American communities that all contribute to this really rich cultural landscape.
But life in America's finest city isn't without its challenges. That beautiful, dry climate comes with a constant and, frankly, terrifying threat: wildfire. Massive fires, like the Cedar Fire back in 2003 and the Witch Creek Fire in 2007, have caused unbelievable destruction and are just a recurring reality for everyone who lives there.
And this really brings us to the core tension of San Diego today. It's a city defined by its perfect sunny image, but it's also grappling with the very real pressures of climate change, population growth, and all the complexities of life on a major international border. So the big question is, how will America's finest city navigate that balance? Because that's what's going to define its next chapter.